Hi, my name's Jonathan Scarapo. Wanted to take some time today and share with you a little bit about Nick's life, how he's impacted my life. I met Nick when I think I was 12 or 13, so Nick was about 8 or 9. I was in 7th grade, he was in 4th, and became really good friends with his older brother, Frankie. And Nick was always around to kind of play with us and tag along, and he was really at that point for the next couple of years, since there was significant age gap as far as maturity or lack thereof. But he was 9, we were in junior high, so he was pretty much our WWF ragdoll, I'd say, that we could practice our rock bottoms and Stone Cold Steve Austin stunners on. And we had a great time. The kid was probably 55 pounds soaking wet, and we just bullied him, but at the same time we loved him. He never got mad at us. We just always played around with him and had a great time. And then one story that really kind of summarizes Nick's life and the legacy that I hope everyone can remember him by is, I was a senior in high school, and I moved in with Frankie and Eleanor and Dave and Nick, and was living at their house while I finished up senior year at Drake at high school. And Frank had his own room, and I was staying, just planning on kind of crashing on Frank's floor. And I think there was even an extra room, but Nick's room was all set up. And one night we're hanging on there. He's like, "Hey, Jonathan, I want you to stay in my bed. I'm going to sleep on the floor." And I was like, "What are you talking about, man? Like, I'm kind of crashing at your house, and I'm just here. This isn't my place. This is your room, man." He's like, "No. I want you to have my bed, man. I want to sleep on the floor. I want you to have it." And like, it just blew my mind. And I was 17 at the time, and selfish enough to take him up on it because I wanted to get a good night's sleep and be ready for school. But just really was a time I got to bond with him, and I was like, wow, this kid's a little different than everyone else. The fact, if it was role reversal, I don't think I ever would have even offered that to someone else. I would have been like, "Get out of my room." But just Nick's character, his heart, how he generally loved and cared for people, it was pretty evident, as a young boy. Just probably the most forgiving, kind, graceful kid I knew growing up. Always a pleasure to be around, always smiling. And I think God gave him certain gifts that he hasn't given many people, and it was really evident in his life. His patience and the way that he could deal with people was just unlike me, unlike his brother Frank, unlike really many other people at all. And I miss him. I love him. He's really, I know, he's probably the only kid I really would in my whole life that I consider to be my younger brother. I'm the youngest of 3 brothers, and I never had an actual younger brother, but he definitely was my little brother. And I'm very thankful for the years and the time I got to share with him. And I know some of the attributes that he has as far as forgiving. I know in the Bible it says, I think one of the disciples asked Jesus, how many times should we forgive one another? And Jesus says 7 times 70. And that's something that Nicholas really lived out. He was constantly forgiving. You could get in a screaming argument, do something so mean to him at the night before, and in the morning he's gonna give you a call and say, "Hey, you want to go and catch breakfast?" So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And I know a lot of people, this has really affected them, and I don't know where you're going to be at in your life, and I don't know what battle you're going through, but just try to learn something from Nick's life. Doesn't matter if it's an addiction, just financial, relational, whatever it is. Just try to wake up the next day and know that you can continue on, know that you are loved, know that God loves you, know that you have friends that love you, know that your family loves you. I think that's something Nick did exceptionally well. And my prayer for you guys is that you can kind of take some of the principles that he got from his family and apply them to your life. And lastly, one thing that really stood out and feedback I got, I wasn't able to make it out to the wake and funeral for Nick, but one thing everyone told me was how strong his family was, how strong Eleanor and Frank and Dave and everyone, Nicole, Evelyn, all of them were at the wake and funeral. And I think some people might not get that. How were they always crying the whole time or whatever it was? And I think when you have assurance of faith in God and you understand you have salvation, I think that you don't really, you definitely mourn, and I'm mourning now, we're all going to be mourning, but you have that assurance of heaven, and you have that hope that other people might not have, that don't have that personal relationship with Christ. So my prayer for you guys is you can learn about that, kind of dig into that, and realize that was something exceptional that Nick had. Nick did have a personal relationship with Christ, and he had a lot of forgiveness, and he was just a unique kid. And so I want everyone to take some lessons from him and realize live on his legacy. The legacy that he'll leave can point towards those Christ-like attributes that he really possessed. So thank you guys. Love you all.